I get a lot of clients who come in and tell me, Cullen, I wasn't read my rights. The officer never read me my rights. Sadly, we live in a world right now where although the burden of proof is on the state to prove you're guilty, we live in a world where you have to prove the officer didn't read you your rights. By default, most places that I've been to, and I can speak from my own experience only, is the default is that you are read your rights and you need to prove you weren't. If an officer doesn't read you your rights and you happen to say something that incriminates yourself, technically that statement should not be admissible in court. It should not be able to be used against you in court. You have this Fifth Amendment constitutional right against self-incrimination. That's why we have the Miranda Rights. That's why we have the Miranda warnings. And we've all heard the Miranda warnings. We've heard them since we were kids growing up. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Boom, let's stop. Let's stop right there. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Let me paraphrase. There's nothing you can say that can help you. Would you like to speak? Write it down, look it up, look at the bottom screen, top, sides, wherever you need to look. That's what it means. If I get pulled over and an officer says, have you been drinking tonight? And I just remain quiet. And he says, I smelled alcohol. This person was driving erratic on the road. I asked if she was drinking. She remained silent. He can handcuff you. He's got enough to probably take you to jail. He could actually tell you that if you refuse the breathalyzer test, you're gonna be charged with a crime, which in my opinion completely contradicts the whole idea of self-incrimination. So if you refuse to incriminate yourself by blowing into this tube, you are punished. I normally tell people, do nothing, say nothing, don't speak. There's nothing good that can come from you speaking. That's what your Miranda Rights just told you. So why would you? Now, I've had people who believe they have absolutely nothing to do with the situation and they can talk their way out of stuff. I'm just saying, in my experience, that generally leads down a rabbit hole you don't want to go. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney if you cannot afford one. And they are so critical because the second you tell an officer, I would like to reserve my right to remain silent, I would like to say nothing, I would like to speak to a lawyer. Those two statements are the two trigger statements to exercise your Fifth Amendment right that the Founding Fathers gave us. That's your right to remain silent. When you exercise those two rights, the police officer is supposed to stop questioning you. Now, if you open your mouth again, it starts all over. So the second you say both of these statements, the police officer stops talking to you, puts you in handcuffs, starts walking you to your car, and you say, but officer, I only had 2 drinks earlier today. Guess what? You just open the door back up and now that statement is now admissible. So now, you weren't silent. You were swerving on the road, you smelled like alcohol, and you admitted that you had a few drinks earlier, and then you refused to blow into this breathalyzer or perform this field sobriety test. If you were on the jury, how would you put your verdict? You have the right to remain silent. Use it. I have bracelets that say that.